My beloved child, tonight I am placing before you a new home, not merely four walls of brick and stone, not simply a room warmed by gentle light, nor only a place where you may lay your head after weary days. The home I long to give you is a refuge of peace that your soul has been seeking for so long. A place where your heart no longer trembles before the fierce winds of life, where you no longer have to pretend to be strong, hold back your tears, or force a smile when your spirit has already grown weary. Can you hear me calling you tonight? Now that the noise of the world is slowly fading away, I am speaking to you, saying, "In my Father's house are many dwelling places," just as Jesus declared in John 14:2. I do not speak these words to comfort you with a distant dream, but to remind you that there is a place reserved, especially for you within my love. Do not miss this home before it slips from your sight, not because I desire to take my blessings away, but because your heart is sometimes so busy, so fearful, and so burdened by doubt that grace stands at your very door while you fail to recognize it. Tonight I have not come to rebuke you for arriving late. I have come to gently take your hand, lead you out of the cold land of anxiety, and tell you this: you were not created to wander forever in uncertainty. You were created to come home, to be embraced, and to find your dwelling place in me. You have walked through many difficult seasons, and I know every one of them. There have been days when you looked around your own room yet still felt homeless, looked at your family yet felt alone, looked at your work yet saw only an uncertain future, looked into your wallet with questions weighing upon your heart, looked at your body and found only exhaustion, and listened to your own mind only to hear endless noise. But, my beloved, there is a truth gentler than every fear. I have never left you. Even when you believed you were standing outside the door, I remained there, just like the father in the parable of the prodigal son, watching the horizon day after day, not to condemn you, but to run toward you the moment you turn back. In Luke 15, the father did not require his son to explain every mistake before clothing him with the finest robe, placing a precious ring upon his hand and sandals upon his feet. He loved first. He restored first. He celebrated first. That is how I love you. The new home I offer you tonight begins with this simple truth: you do not have to become perfect before you may enter. You only need to turn your face toward the light. You only need to stop condemning yourself as though yesterday's failures still had the authority to define your name. In my eyes, you are not yesterday's defeat. You are my child being restored today. Perhaps you have grown accustomed to living inside an old house built within your own mind, where the walls are made of worry, the floors are laid with painful memories, and the windows are covered with the dust of words others once spoke over you. There you awaken each day believing you are not good enough, not strong enough, not worthy enough. But my beloved child, I have not called you to decorate the prison of fear. I have called you out of it. When Israel stood before the Red Sea, they saw only water before them and their enemies behind them. Yet I made a way where there was no way. Exodus pais presece declares. The Lord will fight for you. Let those words soak into your soul like fragrant oil. Not every battle is yours to carry alone. Not every door must be forced open by your own strength. There are doors I will open for you when you stop trembling and begin to trust. Tonight, this new home is also a new pathway within your mind, where you are no longer ruled by the question, what if everything falls apart, but sustained by the assurance, if I am with you, what could you possibly lack? I know your thoughts often dwell on money, tomorrow, unpaid bills, and everything that still feels uncertain. You are not wrong to care about your daily needs, for I do not overlook the bread you need each day. Jesus himself taught you to pray, Give us this day our daily bread. But, my beloved, there is a difference between being responsible and becoming enslaved. Money may serve as a tool, but it must never become the throne within your heart. When you measure your worth by numbers, you will always believe you have too little. When you place your peace in the balance of your bank account, every change will fill you with fear. I do not want your soul to become impoverished, even while your hands labor diligently. I want you to understand that blessing does not always arrive as greater wealth. Sometimes it comes as wisdom to manage what you already have. The calmness, not to rush ahead. An opportunity arriving at the perfect moment. A helping hand extended when you need it most. A decision that spares you from loss. Or the grace to live simply while keeping your dignity intact. Proverbs 3:5 reminds you, trust in the Lord with all your heart. Do not allow financial fear to shrink the house within your soul. I am leading you into a far more spacious home, where you work faithfully without worshiping your work, where you save wisely without allowing scarcity to suffocate your joy, and where you remember that your true source is not found in earthly treasure, but in the one whose mercy never runs dry. Then there is your body. My little child, you have used it to run, to endure, to stay awake through long nights, to carry worries, and to push through one day after another. At times you have forgotten that your body also deserves love, not because it is flawless, but because it is the vessel I have chosen to carry the light of your life. The Apostle Paul wrote in 1 Corinthians 6:19 that your body is a temple of the Holy Spirit. Receive these words with gentleness rather than shame. I do not want you to despise your body because it is tired, because it aches, or because it does not resemble the image the world celebrates. I want you to care for it as one who faithfully tends the lamp burning before the altar. A timely night's sleep can itself become a prayer. A nourishing meal can become an act of thanksgiving. A slow, quiet breath in the middle of a busy day can become the way you open the door for peace to enter. The new home I give you is not built only within your soul. It reaches into every heartbeat, every breath, and every hand that has worked for far too long. Tonight, stop treating yourself like a machine that must never stop. You are my child, not a tool to be worn away. Let me teach you how to rest without guilt, recover without feeling weak, and care for yourself without believing you are selfish. Within your old house, perhaps the noisiest room has always been your mind. Thoughts come and go like wind slipping through the cracks of an old door. Some carry fear, others regret, and still others echo the voices of those who once wounded you. But, my beloved, not every voice that echoes inside your mind speaks the truth. Some are nothing more than darkness dressed in familiar clothing. I want you to learn to recognize my voice among countless others. My voice never crushes you, never drives you into despair, and never calls you by your wounds. It may correct you, but it always leads you toward life. When Elijah became so weary that he wished to give up beneath the broom tree, I did not command him to rise immediately and accomplish great things. I gave him food. I gave him rest. Only then did I lead him to my holy mountain. And when I came to him, I was not in the mighty wind, nor in the earthquake, nor in the fire, but in the gentle whisper. As told in 1 Kings 19, do you see? My child, sometimes what you need is not a spectacular miracle, but a tenderness deep enough to heal you. Tonight, your new home is a quietened mind, not because every question has already been answered, but because you are beginning to realize that you are not alone in asking them. I also see your family, the relationships you cherish, and the relationships that have wounded your heart. Some homes are filled with laughter, while others are burdened by heavy silence. Some dinner tables gather everyone together, yet no one truly listens. There are people you dearly love, yet you do not know how to help them understand what lies within your heart. My beloved, I do not promise that every family will become perfect overnight. But I do promise that love, beginning within one renewed heart, has the power to soften what has long been hardened. When Jesus attended the wedding at Cana, he did not dismiss the lack of wine as something too small to matter. He quietly turned water into the finest wine, preserving the joy of a family from shame. That tells you that I care even about the smallest details within your home. I care about the apology that has never been spoken, the embrace that has been delayed, the phone call you keep postponing, the child who longs to hear that they are loved, the weary father or mother, and the husband or wife who needs compassion more than judgment. The new home I give you tonight may begin with something very small, responding with less wounded pride, remaining silent less often to punish another, expecting less that others should somehow read your heart, and choosing instead to speak words of grace. Colossians 3:14 reminds you that love is the perfect bond of unity. Let that love bind together what has fallen apart, not through force, but through grace. As for your children, or the young people entrusted to your care, remember this: they need more than instruction. They need an atmosphere in which they can grow. A child may forget many lessons, but they will remember for a lifetime how it felt to be looked upon with kindness. Do not simply build them a house with tables and chairs. Build them memories where they never have to earn love through achievement. When Jesus said, "Let the little children come to me," he did not require them to be obedient enough, gifted enough, or quiet enough. He welcomed them exactly as they were. My beloved, learn to see the little ones through those same eyes. Even if you have no children of your own, there are still younger souls watching you, learning from the way you face hardship, the way you speak about others, and the way you rise again after falling. The new home I give you can become a refuge for others as well. A healed heart does not keep peace only for itself. It shines outward like a lamp set upon a stand. Matthew 5:16 says, "Let your light shine before others." Do not believe your light must be great to matter. A word of encouragement spoken at the right moment is light. Patience on a difficult day is light. Choosing forgiveness when revenge is possible is also light. In your work, I know there are days when you wonder whether anyone notices your efforts. You have labored quietly, often without thanks, without recognition, without anyone knowing how much weariness you swallowed simply to finish your responsibilities. But, my beloved, not one honest drop of sweat is forgotten before my eyes. When David was still tending sheep in the fields, few imagined he was being prepared for a throne. Yet those hidden days of protecting the flock from lions and bears were shaping within him the courage he would one day need to stand before Goliath. So it is with you. There are seasons that appear small, yet they are teaching you the perseverance required for a far greater door. Do not despise the day of humble beginnings. Do not allow comparison to steal the joy of your labor. The new home I give you in your work is not necessarily a new position overnight, but first of all, a new spirit, to work with dignity, to rest with peace, to learn with humility, and to move forward with faith. Colossians 3:23 teaches, "Whatever you do, work at it with all your heart, as working for the Lord." When you pour love into the smallest task, that task is no longer small. It becomes a quiet altar upon which you offer me your daily faithfulness. Lift your eyes to creation, for I have written many words of love across the fields, upon the waters, throughout the heavens, and in the songs of the morning birds. When Jesus told his disciples to look at the birds of the air and the lilies of the field, he was not simply teaching a lesson about worry, he was inviting them into the school of trust. The birds neither sow nor reap as you do, yet your heavenly Father still feeds them. The lilies neither spin nor weave, yet their beauty surpasses even Solomon in all his splendor. My beloved, if I care so faithfully for a flower that blooms today and fades tomorrow, how could I ever forget you, whom I have called by name? Perhaps you have lived at such a hurried pace that you have forgotten to lift your eyes toward the sky. Perhaps you have become so accustomed to measuring your life by tasks completed, messages answered, and goals achieved that you have forgotten your very existence is already a miracle. Tonight, the new home I offer you has windows that open toward creation, reminding you that life is not only a burden to carry but also a gift to receive. Let the gentle breeze remind you that the Holy Spirit still blows wherever He wills. Let the stars remind you that darkness can never swallow the light. Let tomorrow's sunrise remind you that my mercies are made new every morning. Yet I know you may still ask, how could this home disappear? Are you afraid that I would first give it to you and then take it away? No. My beloved, my love does not vanish like the morning mist, and my promises are not as fragile as drifting dust. What may disappear is not my mercy, but your own moment of wakefulness. There are nights when your heart grows tender, yet by morning you allow busyness to cover everything once again. There are moments when you hear my voice with unmistakable clarity, yet doubt draws you back into the old house. There are seasons when doors of grace stand open before you, and if you remain outside because you fear change, you will not lose my love. But you may miss the freedom I long for you to enter today. Remember Noah. The ark was not built in a single day, and the invitation to enter that place of refuge was never given lightly. When the rain finally came, what separated life from loss was not whether people had heard the invitation, but whether they chose to enter. Tonight, I am not frightening you with the coming rain. I am inviting you aboard the Ark of Peace. Do not remain outside grace simply because you have grown accustomed to storms. Do not cling to anxiety simply because it feels more familiar than faith. Some chains have been worn for so long that you have mistaken them for part of who you are. But I tell you this, they are not. You were created to be free. I want you to understand that this new home is also a house of forgiveness. Perhaps you have locked away certain rooms within your heart because they contain memories you cannot bear to revisit. Perhaps someone wounded you so deeply that even hearing their name causes your heart to tighten. I am not asking you to pretend the wound never hurt, nor am I telling you to place your trust again in those who have not truly changed. Forgiveness does not deny the truth. Forgiveness places the final judgment back into my hands, so that your soul no longer has to live as the prison guard of the past. When Jesus prayed upon the cross, "Father, forgive them," his words did not lessen the evil that had been done, but they opened a pathway through which mercy could enter the darkest place imaginable. My beloved, there are doors within this new home that cannot be opened while you continue carrying the keys of resentment. Let me sit beside you in that room of pain. I will not force you to run. I will simply light a lamp beside you. Call the truth by its name. Wipe away your tears, and little by little lead you back into the light. One day you will discover that forgiveness does not make you smaller. It gives you back the room your soul needs to breathe. And there is your soul. My beloved, the deepest part of you that no one but me can truly see. That soul has been thirsty. It has thirsted not simply because you have lacked time for prayer, but because you have drunk too deeply from wells that could never satisfy you, the approval of others, compliments that quickly fade, glowing screens in the middle of the night, accomplishments that leave your heart empty almost as soon as they are reached. When Jesus met the Samaritan woman at the well, he was not merely speaking about water. He was touching the hidden thirst she had carried her entire life. He spoke of the living water, the water that would forever change the way a person thirsts. My child, Tonight I am sitting beside the well of your life. I am not ashamed of your story. I do not turn away from the tangled places within you. I ask you not to condemn you, but to open the way for healing. Where have you been searching for water? And why are you still thirsty? Come close to me. Do not seek me only when you are exhausted. Remain with me when you rejoice. When you work, when you eat, when you walk the road, when you greet a new morning. Prayer does not always require many words. Sometimes all it takes is for you to breathe and whisper, Lord, here I am. And in the silence I will answer, I am here too, my beloved child. Tonight, I do not offer you the illusion that your life will never again know hardship. A new home does not mean the rain will never fall again. It means you have a refuge when the rain comes. It does not mean you will never weep again. It means your tears will never fall into empty darkness without purpose. Psalm 56 declares that I keep a record of every tear you shed. You never cry alone. It does not mean you will always understand my plans. But it does mean you can trust my heart even when you cannot yet understand what my hands are doing. Think of Joseph, who was sold by his own brothers, carried into a foreign land, forgotten in prison, and yet in the end became the source of life for many. In Genesis 50:20, he declared that what others intended for evil, God turned into good. My child, I am still able to do the same. I can gather the shattered pieces you believe are fit only to be discarded and shape them into stained glass through which my light can shine. I can use the very places where you were wounded to make you a person of deep compassion. I can turn seasons of waiting into seasons of deeper roots, transform loss into wisdom, and change loneliness into a sacred encounter with me. So as this night gently closes around you, do not hear the title merely as a distant invitation. Tonight I am giving you a new home. Do not miss it before it disappears. Hear it instead as the voice of your Father calling you from the porch where the light is still burning. Imagine the door opening, not with the heavy groan of old hinges, but with the quiet tenderness of grace. Inside this home, a table has already been prepared for you. Just as Psalm 23 declares, you prepare a table before me. There is oil to anoint your head, a cup overflowing for your heart, rest for your weary shoulders, light for your eyes, forgiveness for your past, and courage for your tomorrow. But you must choose to enter. No one else can take the journey home in your place. I have opened the door. I have called you by name. I have prepared your dwelling. I have softened the darkness with my light. I have spread my peace over your long night like a warm blanket. Now lay down the heavy burden of fear. Lay down the voices of self-condemnation. Lay down the habit of believing that good things are not meant for you. Lay down the exhausting belief that you must save yourself. Step inside with one simple but sincere prayer. Father, I am coming home. And when you enter, you will discover that this home is not merely the place where I shelter you, it is the place where I transform you. You will learn to speak more gently to yourself. You will learn to look upon others with greater mercy. You will learn to handle your resources as a faithful steward, to care for your body as a holy temple, to guard your mind as a garden that must be planted with good seeds, to love your family not through control but through faithful presence, to work not as a slave to achievement but with the dignity of one who has been sent, and to behold creation not as a lifeless backdrop but as a letter I have written to your heart. Then one day, you yourself will become a sheltering roof for someone trembling in the rain. They may never fully know all that I have done within you, but they will sense that something becomes gentler, brighter, and more hopeful whenever they are near you. That is the mark of a soul that has come home. That is the fragrance of grace. That is how I transform the story of your life into a living hymn, one that needs no display to echo throughout heaven and earth. My beloved child, tonight Sleep as one who has been called by name, not as one who has been forgotten. Close your eyes with the confidence that your Father's house is still lit. Let your breathing become slower. Let your heart grow softer. And let these words sink beyond your memory into the deepest places of your soul. I am giving you a new home, a home of peace, forgiveness, loving care, hope, and the assurance that your life is still being written with the handwriting of mercy. Do not miss it because of the noise surrounding you. Do not miss it because you believe you are unworthy. Do not miss it because you have grown too accustomed to living out in the cold. Grace is not standing far away from you. It is waiting at your door. Revelation 3:20 declares, "Behold, I stand at the door and knock. All you need to do is open it. And when you do, I will come in, not as a distant guest, but as a father returning to the place where he has always belonged, within your heart. Tonight, you are no longer a wanderer. Tonight, you have a home, and within that home, I will remain with you from this darkness into the dawn, from that dawn into every day that follows, until you finally understand that the most beautiful place in all the world is not a destination, but abiding in my love that will never leave you. And once you have crossed that threshold, my beloved, do not expect every room in your new home to be flooded with light from the very first moment. There are chambers within your soul that must be opened slowly. Just as dawn does not tear apart the night with a blazing sword, but gently pours its light over every rooftop, every blade of grass, and every crack in the dry earth. That is how I heal you. I do not force you into change through fear. I lead you forward through mercy. Tomorrow morning, you may still carry the same old questions, unfinished responsibilities, misunderstood relationships, and wounds that have not yet fully healed. Yet one thing has changed forever. You no longer stand among those things as an orphan. In Isaiah 41:10, I declared, "Do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God." Let those words become the latch that secures your heart from within. When the world knocks with troubling news, when anxiety knocks with unanswered questions, when old memories knock with sorrowful sighs, remember that this new home is not protected by your own strength, but by my presence. You are not at peace because you are strong. You can learn peace because I am with you even in your weakness. From that place of peace, I want you to look again at what you once called delay. There were years when you believed you had been left behind, when it seemed everyone else had entered their season of harvest while you still stood in an empty field. You watched others receive homes, families, careers, achievements, health, and opportunities. And quietly you asked me, "What about me, my child?" I heard that question even when it never became words. But remember Abraham, who waited through long years for my promise, and Sarah, who laughed in the helplessness of old age, only for that laughter to become the very name of Isaac, the child of promise. Not every delay is a denial. There are seasons when I do not immediately give you what you desire, because I am preparing you to receive it without losing your soul. Some doors remain closed because there are still vessels within you that must be cleansed of bitterness, pride, impatience, or insecurity. I do not delay to wound you. I shape time itself so that my blessing will never become your burden. Ecclesiastes 3:11 declares that God has made everything beautiful in its time. The right time is not when your impatience reaches its peak, but when grace and maturity meet within my perfect will. Perhaps you have stepped into this new home while still holding the old keys in your hands, the key that insists on controlling everything, the key of constant self-protection, the key that tells you, unless you anticipate every disaster, life will surely crush you. My beloved child, anxiety often disguises itself as responsibility. yet quietly steals the very life from within you. Responsibility leads you to wise action. Anxiety exhausts you before the battle even begins. When Israel wandered through the wilderness, I did not provide manna for 10 years so they could store it away in fear. I gave them enough for each day so they would learn that my faithfulness arrives with every sunrise. Some tried to keep the manna overnight, but it spoiled, because fear can never preserve grace. So it is with you. There are blessings I give only for today, not because my resources are limited, but because I desire you to learn to walk with me one day at a time. Matthew 6:34 reminds you, each day has enough trouble of its own. Do not carry the weight of years yet to come onto the small table of today and then condemn yourself for not being strong enough. Simply receive the bread for this day, the light for this hour, the breath for this moment. Everything else remains safely in my hands. Within this home, I will also teach you to see loss through new eyes. You have lost things you deeply loved, an opportunity, a relationship, a cherished belief, an innocent version of yourself, or a dream you carried for many years. Some losses remain invisible because they have no funeral, no public mourning, no visitors bringing words of comfort, yet I have seen them all. I saw the day you quietly closed the door and sat in silence. I saw you delete a message, put away a treasured possession, walk along an old familiar road, hear a familiar song, and feel your heart pulled back toward a place that no longer existed. But my child, in my kingdom, loss is not always the end of the story. Unless a grain of wheat falls into the earth and dies, it remains alone, but if it dies, it bears much fruit. Just as John 12:24 reveals the mystery of new life. Some things leave your life because they have fulfilled their purpose. Some are taken away because if they remained, they would keep you confined within a room too small for the future I have prepared. Some things you grieve today, and one day you will understand that I was protecting you from a path that was never meant for you. I do not ask you not to grieve. I simply ask you not to make grief your permanent home. Your new house does not deny your tears, but within it there is a holy hand that wipes them away with hope. And as hope begins to awaken, you will discover that I do not merely desire to heal the places that have been broken, I also long to rebuild the walls that have fallen in your life. Remember Nehemiah. When he heard that the walls of Jerusalem lay in ruins, he sat down, wept, fasted, and prayed, but he did not remain in his tears. He rose, sought the king's permission, and returned to rebuild the city. Some mocked him, others threatened him, and voices urged him to give up. Yet he and the people built while keeping watch, each person restoring a portion of the wall, each pair of hands carrying a measure of hope. My beloved child, your life also has walls that need rebuilding, healthy boundaries within your relationships, gentle discipline in your daily life, a faithful habit of prayer, honesty about your emotions, and a sense of worth rooted in me rather than in the opinions of others. Do not be afraid when the work still appears unfinished. A wall is rebuilt one stone at a time. A soul is restored through one faithful choice after another. A new home is preserved through quiet acts of obedience, speaking the truth instead of avoiding it, choosing rest instead of self-destruction, praying instead of panicking, asking forgiveness when you have failed, and walking away when it is time to leave places where life no longer grows. Philippians 1:6 assures you that he who began a good work in you will carry it to completion. My child, I have already begun, and I will never abandon the work of my mercy. As this rebuilding continues, you will learn to distinguish between the doors I open and the doors you insist on forcing open yourself. Not every glittering opportunity is a blessing. Not every appealing invitation leads to life. Some things resemble a home, yet within them your soul slowly withers. Some paths appear shorter, yet they lead you farther from me. Some relationships initially make you feel needed, but gradually rob you of your peace, your dignity, and your authentic voice. Therefore, I give you not only the grace to walk through open doors, but also the wisdom to refrain from entering every door that stands before you. When Solomon asked me for wisdom instead of riches, it pleased me because he understood that he needed light to govern his life. My child, ask the same of me. Pray, Lord, help me discern what comes from you, what rises from my fear, what is born of my impatience, and what is merely a trap disguised by passing beauty. James 1:5 promises that if anyone lacks wisdom, let them ask God, who gives generously to all. I do not desire you to walk in confusion. I desire you to have clear eyes that recognize what nourishes your soul, what slowly drains your heart, what draws you closer to love, and what quietly leads you back into exile. And speaking of exile, I want you to remember that some of those who encountered me most profoundly in Scripture did not find me in magnificent temples, but in places the world had forgotten. Daniel was in Babylon, far from his homeland, surrounded by a culture that did not worship me. Yet he continued to open his window toward Jerusalem and pray. His faithfulness transformed a foreign room into a sanctuary. Do you see, my child? The new home I give you is not always determined by the address where you live. You may still occupy the same room, the same city, the same workplace, the same circumstances. Yet when your heart turns toward me, that place is no longer a prison. It becomes an altar. Do not wait for everything around you to change before living as one who is loved. Do not wait until you have enough money, enough time, enough support, enough health, or enough certainty before allowing yourself to breathe freely. My peace does not wait for perfect circumstances before it arrives. Jesus slept in the boat during the storm, not because the storm was unreal, but because the Father's power was more real than the storm itself. When the disciples awakened him in fear, he rebuked the wind and the sea, and a great calm followed. Tonight, I may not immediately silence every storm surrounding you, but I am rising within your heart and speaking to the waves inside you. Peace. Be still, and if you listen closely, you will begin to feel a wide expanse of heaven opening within the very place that was once filled with turmoil. From that open heaven, I will lead you into a new way of loving. No longer loving out of emptiness. No longer clinging to others out of fear of being abandoned. No longer sacrificing yourself until you lose your own dignity and calling it love. The love that comes from me does not ask you to turn yourself into ashes so that others may be warm. The love that comes from me teaches you to give generously while also standing firmly in the truth. Jesus loved to the very end, yet he did not yield to every demand of the crowds. There were times when he withdrew from them to pray in lonely places. There were times when he remained silent before Herod. There were times when he spoke boldly to the hypocrites, yet with tenderness to sinners who came in sincere repentance. My beloved child, I want you to learn a love filled with light, not a love that is blind. Love your family, but do not allow manipulation to disguise itself as duty. Help others, but do not rescue them by drowning yourself. Forgive, but do not hand back the keys of your life to those who continue to destroy it. Be generous, but do not allow your generosity to become a doorway for injustice. 1 Corinthians 13 tells us that love is patient and kind. It does not rejoice in wrongdoing, but rejoices with the truth. Hold fast to both kindness and truth, for whenever either one is missing, love is easily distorted. Within this new home, I will also teach you to receive yourself with the same mercy you so readily extend to others, yet so often withhold from yourself. Many times you have comforted others when they were weak, but when you yourself grew weary, you condemned yourself as worthless. You have told others that healing requires time, yet you have demanded that you rise again immediately. You have believed that I forgive countless souls, but when you look upon your own failures, you imagine that your case is somehow beyond redemption. My child, that is not humility. It is a hidden form of pride, born from pain. When you believe your sin is greater than my mercy, look at Peter. He denied his master 3 times on that cold night. Yet, after the resurrection, Jesus did not crush him with the question, "Why did you betray me?" Instead, he simply asked, "Do you love me?" And each time Peter answered that he did, Jesus entrusted him once again with his calling. "Feed my sheep." Do you see? I do not merely forgive you so your heart may feel lighter. I restore you so that your life may continue with purpose. Your mistakes do not possess the authority to erase my calling upon your life. Your moments of weakness have never taken me by surprise. I know the clay from which you were formed. I know the dust from which you came. And I also know the light that I, myself, have placed within you. As that light awakens, you will begin to recognize the small blessings you once overlooked. A glass of water when your throat is dry. Someone asking how you are at just the right moment. A day untouched by tragedy. A night's sleep more peaceful than the one before. A job that may not be perfect but still provides for your needs. A house that may not be beautiful but keeps out the rain. A body that still aches but continues striving to heal. A heart that has been broken but still retains the ability to love. My beloved child, gratitude is the window that fills the house of your soul with light. It is not gratitude because everything is easy, but gratitude because in everything I have left traces of my goodness. When Jesus healed the 10 lepers, only one returned to give thanks. And he noticed, "Do not let your life become an endless race that never turns back to see the hand that has been lifting you all along." Every word of thanksgiving becomes another brick in this new home. Every time you whisper, "Lord, I thank you even for this small gift," your heart becomes less persuaded by the darkness that your life consists of nothing but lack. Gratitude does not make your problems disappear overnight, but it places them in their proper light. Your problems are real. But so am I. Hardship has its voice, but grace has its song, and you will not sing that song alone. I will bring into your life those who bear witness to the light. People who will not merely applaud you when you are strong, but who will sit beside you when you are weak. People who will not lead you farther from me, but will help you remember who you are in me. Yet, in order to welcome them, you must release the relationships whose season has already passed. Some people are meant to walk with you only for part of the journey, not because they are evil, but because I am leading each of you along different paths. Some must leave so that you may learn to stand firmly in me. Others may remain, yet they must be loved with healthy boundaries. Do not mistake every departure for abandonment. Sometimes it is simply the way I make room for new life. When Ruth lost her husband and stood before an uncertain future, she chose to remain with Naomi, never knowing that the road of poverty would lead her to the fields of Boaz, to protection, and to a place in the very genealogy of the Savior. You cannot always foresee who the Boaz of your next season will be, which field will sustain you, or which encounter will redirect your life. But you can remain faithful in today's small step. Ruth gathered grain one stalk at a time, unaware that she was walking within a far greater plan. You, too, should faithfully do what is right before you, however humble it may seem. I often hide extraordinary things within ordinary acts of faithfulness, little by little, as this new home within you is filled with peace, wisdom, gratitude, and love illuminated by truth. I will invite you to open its doors so that others may enter, not so they may take possession of your home, but so they may experience a little of the warmth I have given you. One who has been comforted learns to comfort. One who has been forgiven learns to look upon those who have fallen with gentler eyes. One who has known poverty learns to share bread without despising the hungry. 2 Corinthians 1:4 declares that I comfort you in all your troubles, so that you may comfort others with the comfort you yourselves have received from me. Do you see? A healed wound is never wasted. The tears I have wiped away do not vanish without purpose. They become streams that nourish compassion. One day, someone will come to you in the darkness of their own night, and you will not need to preach many words. The quiet peace of your presence will speak for itself, saying, I've been there too, and the Lord did not abandon me. This is how my kingdom spreads, not merely through great speeches, but through hearts that have themselves become places of refuge. But remember this, my child, if you wish to keep this house filled with light, you must return to its source every day. A lamp cannot continue burning when separated from its oil. A vine cannot bear fruit once it is severed from the branch. Jesus said in John 15:5, Whoever remains in me, and I in him, will bear much fruit. Do not strive to produce fruit through relentless tension. Do not force yourself toward holiness through fear. Simply remain. Remain in prayer. Even if only for a few sincere minutes, remain in my word. Even if only one verse echoes in your heart throughout the day, remain in gratitude, in gentle self-examination, in quiet acts of goodness, and in returning to me each time you lose your way. There will be days when you pray and feel nothing. Do not lose heart. Roots grow in silence. There will be days when you read my word and your heart still feels dry. Do not give up. Rain soaks into the earth, one drop at a time. There will be days when you do what is right and no one notices. Do not grow weary. Your Father, who sees what is done in secret, knows every faithful step. This new home is not preserved by passing emotions, but by steadfastly abiding in love. Then you will understand that tonight is not merely another ordinary night. It is a threshold. Perhaps no one outside knows what is happening within you. Yet heaven knows. Perhaps your room remains silent. But in the unseen world, your homecoming is being celebrated. When the prodigal son returned, his father said, Let us celebrate. For this son of mine was dead and is alive again. He was lost and is found. I rejoice in the same way when you choose life. I rejoice when you no longer agree with the voice that tells you your life is hopeless. I rejoice when you dare to believe that there is still a home prepared for you. I rejoice when you place your hand upon your heart and quietly whisper, I am loved. Loved not because you have done enough, but because you belong to me. Loved not only after you have become clean, but because my love itself washes you clean. Loved not as a reward for the victorious, but as the very first breath that enables the weary to stand again. Therefore, my beloved child, let the remainder of this night become a quiet act of consecration. If you are lying in bed, place every burden into my hands, as though laying down one stone after another from your shoulders. If you are sitting alone, let your loneliness become the room where I come to visit you. If you are weeping, let your tears fall into my embrace rather than into emptiness. If fear grips your heart, hold tightly to the words of Psalm 27:1. The Lord is my light and my salvation, whom shall I fear? If you are burdened by regret, remember that I am the one who makes a way in the wilderness and streams in the desert. If you are waiting, Believe that the seed beneath the soil is already breaking open, though your eyes have not yet seen the first green shoot. If you are beginning again, know that I do not despise your small beginnings. If you are weary from trying to appear strong, come to me as a little child. You need not speak perfectly. You need not offer polished prayers. Simply tell me the truth. Father, I need you. And I, the one who heard Hagar's cry in the wilderness, who saw Hannah's tears in the temple, who called Mary by name beside the empty tomb, will hear you as well. Remember Hagar, the woman driven into the wilderness with her young son, when the water in her skin was gone and hope seemed extinguished. She placed her child beneath a bush because she could not bear to watch him die. And she wept. But my angel called to her, and I opened her eyes to see a well of water nearby. My beloved child, sometimes the blessing is not far away. Your tears have simply blurred your vision. Sometimes the well has been close all along, but despair has kept you from seeing it. Tonight I do not merely give you water, I open your eyes. I allow you to see that there is still a path, still a source of life, still a hand ready to lift you, still people whom I will send to help you, still strength within you that you never realized remained. Do not decide your destiny while you are thirsty. Do not conclude that your life is over simply because your water skin has temporarily run dry. I am the one who opens wells in the wilderness. I am the one who brings streams from the rock. I am the one who fed Elijah through ravens, who nourished my people with manna, who fed 5,000 with 5 loaves and 2 fish. Your lack does not confuse me. What I ask of you is simply to place the little that you have into my hands, and then watch as grace breaks it, multiplies it, and provides far beyond anything you could have imagined. When morning comes, you may rise to face the very same list of responsibilities, but do not rise with the same old spirit. Step into the new day as one who has received a new key. That key does not remove you from the world. It teaches you to live within it with a transformed heart. You will still answer messages, work faithfully, care for your family, solve difficult problems, meet people who have not changed, and face unfinished situations. Yet within you, there will be a holy sanctuary where I dwell. When someone wounds you, you may retreat into that sanctuary before responding. When financial worries arise, you may enter that sanctuary and remember the true source of your provision. When your body grows tired, you may return there and hear me whisper, rest. When your mind becomes overwhelmed, you may bring every thought into that sanctuary and place it beneath my light. When success comes, you may enter there so that pride does not take root. When praise comes, you may offer it back to me. When misunderstandings arise, you need not allow them to define who you are. One who has found a home in me no longer needs to wander through the world, begging it to provide an identity. And if one day you forget again, if you find yourself drawn back into the old house of anxiety, if the voice of self-condemnation begins to echo within your mind once more, I will still call for you. The home I give you does not close its doors because you have stumbled. Return more quickly, do not hide for longer. After Adam and Eve sinned, they concealed themselves among the trees of the garden. Yet I still called out, where are you? That question was never asked because I did not know where they were, but because I desired them to step out from the hiding place of shame. I ask you the same question whenever you hide within busyness, silence, endless distractions, or the pretense that everything is fine. Where are you? Not to accuse you, but to bring you home every time you answer me with honesty. Grace finds another doorway into your heart. Never fear the truth before me. I am the light. Yet my light does not destroy the child who returns. It drives away the darkness from every place where darkness no longer has any rightful dwelling. Now let the final words of this night settle upon your heart like a cloak. I am doing something new within you. Quietly, patiently, yet undeniably real. Isaiah 43:19 declares, "See, I am doing a new thing, now it springs up. Do you not perceive it? My child, perceive it." This new work may begin with a lighter breath, a decision to forgive yourself, a message of reconciliation, a night of proper rest, a morning spent reading my word, wiser stewardship of your resources, a healthy boundary spoken with love, a heartfelt thank you, silence instead of anger, or one small step toward the calling I have prepared for you. Never despise the small signs of life. A tender shoot is soft at first, yet within it sleeps an entire forest. So it is with your heart tonight. I have planted within it the seed of a new home, a home of peace and hope. Guard it against doubt. Water it through prayer. Warm it with my word. Allow it to grow through faithful choices. My beloved child, tonight I do not merely tell you that I am giving you a new home. I tell you that I, myself, will be your home. When every other foundation trembles, I remain the rock. When every other voice changes, my word remains forever steadfast. When you do not know where to go, I remain the way. When you cannot discern what is true, I remain the truth. When you feel life within you growing faint, I remain the life. Do not miss this grace, because your eyes are fixed upon doors that have already closed. Do not miss your new home because you still grieve over the old tent that has fallen apart. Do not miss my calling because the voice of fear has become so loud. Come in, remain, and let me teach you how to live as one who belongs to the light. Tonight, I cover your sleep with my peace. I command my angels to keep watch around you. I gather every scattered fragment of your heart into my hands. I bless your tomorrow before you have the chance to worry about it. And once again, with all the mercy that can never be exhausted, I say to you, you have a home now. My beloved child, you have me. And in me, nothing beautiful that has been prepared for you will ever be lost. If only you are willing to open your heart, step inside, and remain in the Father's love. My beloved child, now that you have heard the sound of the door opening within your soul, now that you have begun to believe that this night is not merely an ordinary night, but a sacred hour of divine visitation, I do not want you to remain standing at the threshold, looking in as one still weighed down by doubt. There are those who have lived so long on the porch of grace, so accustomed to the bitter cold, that even when they are invited into the warmth of love's fireplace, they still tremble and ask, "Is this truly meant for me?" I understand that question, because I know you have known disappointment. You have hoped, only to watch your hopes dissolve like smoke. You have trusted someone, only to be left behind. You have tried to build a place of safety, only to discover that the very place you built became the source of your pain. But, my beloved, do not allow the houses that collapsed in your past to keep you from embracing the home I am building for you today. I do not build with the fragile promises of human beings. I build with covenant, with mercy, with the blood and water that flowed from the side of the Savior. When Psalm 127 declares, "Unless the Lord builds the house, the builders labor in vain," I do not say this to make you feel powerless. I say it so that you may understand that the strongest home is never founded upon your own strength, but upon my presence. From this day forward, do not ask merely what you must do to survive. Ask instead how you may remain in me so that you may truly live. From that place of abiding, I will teach you to look back upon the seasons of your brokenness with new eyes. The years you thought were wasted were not entirely lost. The paths you regretted were not filled only with darkness. The silent days when you wept did not fail to bear fruit. In my hands, no shattered life is ever too broken to be made whole again. Remember Ruth, a woman who lost her husband, left her homeland, and followed her mother-in-law into a foreign land without knowing what tomorrow would bring. To human eyes, it was a story of loss, poverty, and uncertainty. Yet along that seemingly insignificant journey, I had already prepared a field, a redeemer named Boaz, and a lineage that would lead to King David, and beyond him, to the Savior himself. Do you see? One faithful decision made in the midst of sorrow can open a chapter beyond anything you could have imagined. Therefore, as you stand within my new house, do not carry with you the old belief that your life is too late, too broken, or beyond repair. I am the one who can turn a gleaning field into the birthplace of glory. I am the one who can plant a future in the very place where you see only ashes. I am the one who transforms the words "I have lost so much" into the testimony "I restored more than you ever imagined." There will come a time when you ask me about the people who walked away, the opportunities that ended, and the doors upon which you knocked until your hands grew weary. Yet they never opened. My child, not every closed door is a punishment. Some doors are shut so that poisonous winds may no longer enter your home. Some delays are not meant to discourage you, but to allow your roots to grow deep before your branches reach toward the sky. Some people leave your life not because you lack worth, but because they do not belong in the house of peace I am building within you. When Abraham was called to leave his homeland, I did not hand him a complete map. I simply invited him. Go to the land I will show you. Faith is often not about knowing every destination. It is about recognizing whose hand is leading you. You ask me to bring you into a new home, yet sometimes you still cling to the keys of old rooms, trying to reopen relationships that drained your soul, trying to reclaim what in my mercy I removed from your hands. Let me teach you to discern the difference between loss and liberation. Not everything that disappears is a tragedy. Sometimes something must be taken away so that you may finally have room to receive a fuller life. And when that empty space frightens you, remember that I do not despise your emptiness. From the very beginning, when the earth was formless and void, my spirit hovered over the waters, and out of that emptiness I called forth light. Do not be ashamed that there are still places within you that have no shape yet. Emotions you cannot name, dreams that have not yet taken form. I create out of chaos. I bring light into places where light has never been. When you do not know how to pray, the Holy Spirit still intercedes for you with groanings too deep for words, just as Romans 8 reminds you. Therefore, if tonight all you can do is sit quietly before me, that alone is already a prayer. If tears are the only offering you can bring, I will receive them like precious incense. If your heart has become so dry that you feel nothing at all, I still will not leave you, because my love does not depend upon your passing emotions. This new home does not require you to feel spiritually fervent every day. It teaches you to remain faithful even when your heart feels cold, to trust even when your eyes cannot yet see, and to remain with me even when your emotions offer no applause. My beloved child, within this house, I also want you to rediscover the meaning of slowness. The world outside constantly urges you to run faster, possess more, prove yourself more, answer more quickly, and succeed sooner. But the soul does not mature beneath the whip of hurry. The olive tree needs time to sink its roots deep. Grapes require seasons before they become sweet. A child needs years before learning to walk with confidence. So do you. Do not despise the work I am doing in you. simply because it is quiet. Jesus lived 30 hidden years before entering 3 years of public ministry. Those 30 years were not wasted. They were holy hiddenness. The room of preparation. The Nazareth of obedience. You also have your Nazareth, the unnoticed days of faithful work. The ordinary responsibilities repeated again and again. The small sacrifices made for your family. The hours spent learning. The moments when you choose silence instead of argument. The times you care for your body. The evenings when you still come to prayer despite your weariness. Never underestimate your Nazareth. It is there, in the hidden places, that I shape your hands, purify your intentions, soften your words, and prepare you for blessings you could not yet carry if I entrusted them to you too soon. As you begin to slow down in my presence, you will discover that the smallest things around you become radiant with meaning. A simple glass of water will no longer be merely water, but a reminder that I continue to sustain you. An ordinary meal will no longer be just another routine, but a little banquet of gratitude. A message arriving at the right moment will no longer seem like coincidence, but perhaps the gentle knock of grace upon your door. You will learn to recognize miracles not only in seas divided or the dead raised to life, but also in a heart less bitter than yesterday, in a peaceful night's sleep after many anxious nights, in an apology finally spoken, and in the courage to begin again, even while fear still lingers. When Jesus multiplied the loaves, he began with 5 loaves and 2 fish offered by a little boy. I do not require you to bring me overflowing storehouses before I can pour out my blessings. I ask only that you place into my hands whatever little you have, a little time, a little faith, a little strength, a little goodwill, a little courage that still remains. In your hands it may seem insignificant. In mine, it can become nourishment for many. Yet you must also guard this new house against the things that pollute its peace. Do not open the door of your heart to every voice simply because it is loud. Do not invite bitterness to sit at your table through conversations filled with judgment. Do not allow your eyes to consume so many images that your heart becomes captive to comparison, envy, or self-contempt. Do not let your ears become so accustomed to negativity that the voice of hope begins to sound unfamiliar. Proverbs says, above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. To guard your heart does not mean shutting yourself away in fear. It means knowing what is worthy to enter holy ground. You cannot fill the living room of your soul with the world's garbage and then wonder why you feel suffocated. Choose what nourishes you. Choose words that breathe life. Choose relationships that make you gentler, more authentic, and closer to me. Choose silence whenever noise no longer serves its purpose. Let your new home have doors and windows, but let it also have discernment. Not everyone who knocks has the right to enter the place where I am healing you. Even so, this careful guarding is not meant to make you cold-hearted. On the contrary, when your inner home is firmly established, you will be able to love without losing yourself. You will be able to help others without allowing your own heart to be drained by false obligations. You will be able to say no to what destroys your peace while still saying yes to genuine love. Look at the Good Samaritan. He stopped for the wounded man, bound up his injuries, brought him to an inn, and paid for his care. Yet he did not abandon his own journey in order to become the Savior in my place. My child, only I am the Savior. You are invited to love, but you are not called to carry a role that belongs to God alone. There are people you can help through your presence, your prayers, and your concrete acts of kindness. But there are also those whom you must entrust back into my hands, because you cannot heal their hearts by allowing your own to be shattered. The new home I give you is filled with hospitality, but it is not built with chains. It has a table for the weary, yet it also has a quiet room of prayer where you yourself may find rest in me. Then, on the days when old sins come knocking once again, I want you to remember that true repentance is not a dark room where you punish yourself, but a bright path leading you back to love. Peter denied his master 3 times, and the crowing rooster may have become the most haunting sound of his life. Yet after the resurrection, Jesus did not come to crush Peter beneath the question, "Why did you betray me?" Instead, he asked, "Do you love me?" Those 3 questions were not 3 wounds. They were 3 streams of living water, washing away 3 denials. My beloved child, I ask you the same question not to shame you, but to restore your calling. Do you love me? Even if your love still trembles? Do you wish to rise again, even though your knees still bear bruises? Will you allow me to use your life once more? Even after believing you had removed yourself from my plan, hear me clearly. Failure never has the final word. Resurrected love always does. When resurrected love touches your heart, you will begin to understand that this new home is not merely a place where you hide from the world, but the place from which I send you back into the world with a transformed heart. I do not want you to live positively by pretending that human suffering does not exist. I want you to live with hope by looking directly into the darkness while believing that light is stronger still. Beyond these walls are the sick, the lonely, the poor, the despairing, the forgotten elderly, the wandering young, the exhausted workers, and those who possess everything yet remain empty inside. You cannot save the whole world by your own strength, but you can become a small sign that I still love this world. A loaf of bread shared, a prayer offered, a listening ear that does not rush to judge, an act of justice in your work, honesty in your finances, a choice to defend the vulnerable, a genuine smile. Each of these can become a living stone in the kingdom of heaven here upon the earth. When Micah 6:8 calls you to act justly, love mercy, and walk humbly with your God, it is not presenting an unreachable ideal. It is describing the daily rhythm of one who has found a home in me. Let me also speak to you about the nights when it seems as though I am silent. There are times when you pray, but hear no answer. When you knock, but hear only an echo. When you open the scriptures and the words seem dry. When you attend worship or kneel in prayer, yet your heart remains heavy. Do not rush to conclude that I have abandoned you. On Holy Saturday, my disciples also believed that everything had ended. Their master's body lay in the tomb. The stone had been rolled into place, and hope itself seemed sealed away. Yet, within that silence, the work of salvation was already moving toward the dawn of resurrection. My child, some silences are not signs of absence, but depths of mystery. Some seeds break open only in the darkness beneath the soil. Some prayers are answered first by making you deeper before changing your circumstances. Trust me through the holy Saturdays of your life. Resurrection Sunday never asks darkness for permission before it arrives. Dawn does not need the tomb's consent before it bursts forth. From that trust, begin to put your life in order through very small yet very genuine steps. Offer an apology wherever one is needed. Forgive where you are ready. And ask me to help you where you are not. Restore integrity to the work of your hands. Care for your sleep, because an exhausted soul often hears fear more loudly than my voice. Open the scriptures not merely to search for a beautiful verse, but to encounter the living one. Pray for the person you find hardest to love, not so that your feelings immediately change, but so that your heart does not freeze over. View money with wisdom. Do not spend it to fill the emptiness of your soul, nor hoard it out of fear as though I were no longer your father. Speak words of blessing over your children, your family, and even over yourself. Do not call your life by the name of disaster. Call it by the name of the grace that is growing within it. Words can become seeds. Sow the seeds you desire to see flourishing in your new home. And when you stumble again, because you are still wonderfully fragile and human, do not run away from the house. A child learning to walk is never cast out because of a fall. The child is lifted up, the dust is brushed away, and gentle encouragement is given to keep walking. I am never surprised by your weakness. I know you were formed from the dust of the earth, but I also know that my breath lives within you. Do not allow the enemy to use a single failure to convince you that your entire journey has been meaningless. He is the accuser. I am your father. He says, you have failed again. I say, rise up. I am still here. He says, you are not worthy to enter. I say, a new robe has already been prepared for you. He says, the door is shut. I say, I am the door. In John 16, Jesus declared, I am the door for the sheep. Walk through that door every day with repentance, with faith, and with the simple humility of one who knows the need for grace. Little by little, you will discover that within this new home, there is a very special table, the table of communion. I did not create you to live in isolation like an island separated from every shore, though there are moments when you need silence. Your soul was fashioned to love and to be loved. Seek those who help you remember me, not merely those who flatter your ego. Find a community where you can pray, serve, learn, and be strengthened. Glowing coals separated from the fire gradually grow cold, but when they remain together, they preserve their warmth. The letter to the Hebrews reminds believers not to neglect gathering together, because those who follow me need one another for the long journey. Never be ashamed when you need support. When the paralyzed man was brought to Jesus, it was his friends who opened the roof and lowered him into the Savior's presence. There will be moments when another person's faith will carry you because you cannot yet walk on your own. And there will come a day when your faith will carry someone else. Such is the beauty of the spiritual family. But even if there is a season when no one is near you, I still want you to remember this. Solitude with me is entirely different from loneliness without me. John the Baptist grew up in the wilderness. Moses encountered me at the burning bush. Jesus often withdrew to lonely places to pray. A deserted place is not always a punishment. Sometimes it is the private chamber of love. If you are now living through a season where few understand you and few walk beside you, do not be quick to believe that you have been forgotten. I can use the wilderness itself to purify the calling within you, so that you no longer live by the noise of the crowd, but by my voice. In the wilderness, my people learned to receive manna one day at a time, never storing it out of fear for tomorrow. So it shall be with you. Receive today's grace. Do not demand enough strength for an entire lifetime in a single evening. I give daily bread, daily light, and daily strength. Tomorrow carries the grace meant for tomorrow. Tonight, all you need is the grace I am giving you tonight. And the grace of this night is an invitation to enter more deeply into the truth that you are loved before you accomplish anything at all. This is the foundation of every spiritual home. If you build your life upon achievement, you will collapse when failure comes. If you build it upon beauty, you will fear the passing of time. If you build it upon wealth, you will tremble when circumstances change. If you build it upon the praise of others, you will become captive to the tongues of men. But if you build upon my love, then, though the rain falls, the floods rise, and the winds beat against your house, it will remain standing. Just as Jesus taught in Matthew 7 about the wise man who built his house upon the rock. That rock is not your own toughness, but my faithfulness. You may be weak, Yet the foundation is never weak. You may weep, yet the house will not fall. You may not understand, yet the rock remains. Build upon me through the choices you make again and again, each day. Trust when you are afraid. Pray when you are weary. Love when it is difficult. Speak truthfully when temptation beckons. And hope even when you cannot yet see the outcome. So, my beloved child, as the remaining hours of the night settle gently over the earth like a soft covering, I want your soul to rest quietly beside the fire of my grace. Stop running. Stop trying to prove yourself. Stop knocking on doors that have left your hands bleeding. Return to the home I am giving you, not tomorrow. Not when everything is perfect. Not when you finally consider yourself worthy according to your own standards. But tonight, you may begin to live as one who has been forgiven. Tonight you may breathe as one who is sheltered. Tonight you may place your future into my hands without clinging to it until your heart aches. Tonight you may tell your fears that they are no longer the master of the house. Love is the master now. Peace is the master now. The one who called you by name and engraved you upon the palms of his hands is the master now. Isaiah 49 declares that even if a mother should forget the child she has born, I will never forget you. Let those words become the blanket that covers your soul. Then tomorrow, when you awaken, perhaps the room around you will remain the same. Your work will still be waiting. The bills will still be there. Difficult people may not have changed. Your body will still need care, and your mind will still need to be trained in peace. Yet you will no longer awaken as someone without a home. You will rise as one who carries a home within, because I dwell in you, and the one who carries a home within the heart can travel the longest roads without losing the way. You will step into the new day with a strength clothed in gentleness, not the rigid strength that strains to endure, but the strength of a tree planted beside flowing waters, whose leaves remain green even in seasons of drought. Just as Jeremiah 17 describes the one who trusts in the Lord, you will understand that peace is not the final reward after every problem has disappeared. Peace is my presence in the midst of every problem. You will know that hope is not the denial of reality. Hope is seeing reality through the light of the risen one. And you will discover that this new home does not disappear when the sun rises, so long as you continue opening its door to me each day. Therefore, remain with me, my beloved. Abide in my word, in my love, and in the truth I speak over your life. Let every room within you be made holy, the room of your memories, the room of your dreams, the room of your work, the room of your finances, the room of your body, the room of your family, and the room where sorrows no one has ever touched still linger. Do not keep any room hidden from me because of shame. I do not enter to destroy you. I enter to heal you. I do not search for your sins in order to condemn you. I shine my light so that you may be set free. I do not extinguish a smoldering wick. I shield it from the wind until it burns brightly again. And when that flame rises once more, you will see that you have not only received a new home, you yourself are being made new. Your heart of stone will slowly become a heart of flesh. Bitter words will gradually become words of blessing. Weary eyes will begin to behold beauty again. Hands once clenched in fear will slowly open. Feet that wandered astray will steadily find their way home. This is the miracle I am working within you quietly, yet truly, gently, yet powerfully, hidden, yet enduring. And finally, remember this. I am not merely giving you a home where you may be safe tonight. I am preparing you for your eternal home, where every tear will be wiped away, where death shall be no more, where mourning, crying, and pain shall cease, just as the book of Revelation promises. Every peaceful home you taste in this life is only a faint ray announcing that coming dawn. every time you are forgiven, every time you are lifted up again, every meal received with gratitude, every prayer offered through tears, every embrace that comforts a weary soul. All these are signs that the kingdom of heaven has already begun to touch the earth. Therefore, do not live as one who belongs only to the dust. Your feet walk upon the earth, but your heart has been called toward heaven. You labor in this world, yet your soul is nourished by eternity. Love the beautiful things of this world, for I have left the imprint of my hands upon them. But never forget that the greatest beauty of all is to dwell with me. Tonight, as I tell you that I am giving you a new home, I am also whispering of that final home, where you will never again fear being cast out, never again need to lock the door against the darkness, never again wonder whether you are truly loved. There you shall know fully, even as you have been fully known. There you shall rest in me, and I shall be your everlasting light. Until that day comes, walk each day as one secured by love. When you are weak, lean upon me. When you rejoice, give thanks to me. When you lose your way, call upon me. When fear arises, hold fast to my word. When blessings come, share them freely. When you are misunderstood, keep your heart pure. When temptation urges you to return to the old house of despair, remember this night. Remember my voice calling you. Remember the door that was opened. Remember that you are not defined by where you once slept, but by the place where you have been invited to remain from this day forward. I am your Father. I do not grow weary of you. My patience with you does not run out. My love for you has no expiration. And if the world ever makes you feel small, return to this truth. In my house, you have a name, a place, a table prepared for you, a light that never fails, and a future filled with hope. Do not miss this gift. Do not remain outside any longer. Come in, rest, let your heart grow warm again, and let your life become this gentle response from now on. Father, I have come home, and I will remain forever in your love. And after you have heard me say that tonight you have a home, I want you to remain a little longer in this sacred silence. Do not hastily close the door of your heart simply because my words have stirred your emotions. Many souls hear my voice, shed tears, and feel deeply touched, only to return a few hours later to their old patterns of thinking, their old dark rooms, and the old garments heavy with anxiety. My beloved child, I do not desire that you be merely moved for a moment. I desire that you be transformed in the depths of your being. A new home is not only a place you enter, it is a place where you learn to live by a new order, a new breath, and a new heartbeat. When I spoke through the prophet Ezekiel, saying, I will give you a new heart and put a new spirit within you, I was not promising to renovate the surface. I was promising to transform the very source. Too many times, you have tried to change your life by forcing yourself to become stronger, busier, or harder. Yet what you need is not a thicker shell. What you need is a softer heart in my hands. Tonight, as you hear my invitation to enter this new home, allow me not only to welcome you at its threshold, but also to lead you through every room within, where your memories, your faith, your hope, your dreams, and even your deepest wounds are waiting to be touched by my light. In the first room of this home, I want you to give yourself a new name. For many years, perhaps you have allowed the world to call you by names that diminished your soul. Failure, one who arrived too late, one who is never good enough, one who is easily abandoned, one who must always prove themselves, one who has sinned too greatly to deserve another chance. But my child, No one has the right to give you your final name except the one who created you. When the angel came to Gideon, he was threshing wheat in a winepress because he feared his enemies. Yet the greeting was not, "You fearful man," but, "The Lord is with you, mighty warrior." I called him according to what I saw within him, not according to what fear had hidden. So it is with you. I call you my beloved before you have accomplished anything great. I call you light even when you believe darkness still surrounds you. I call you one who has been lifted up even while your knees are still trembling. Do not allow the failures of one season to become the identity of your entire life. Do not let one rejection become a lifelong sentence. In this new home, upon the door of your soul, I write another name: loved, chosen, forgiven, guided, and protected. Learn to call yourself by the name I give you, for every time you agree with that truth, another stone from the old house within your heart will fall away. Then I lead you into the room of memories, where old chests have remained locked away for years. You believe that if you never opened them again, they would no longer influence you. But my child, the things buried in darkness often continue shaping the way you love, the way you trust, the way you fear, and the way you respond even to the smallest words. I do not bring you into that room to deepen your pain, but to show you that no shadow within your life frightens me. When Lazarus had lain in the tomb for 4 days, the people said there would already be the smell of death. Yet Jesus stood before that grave and called, "Lazarus, come out." He was not driven back by the odor of death. My beloved child, there are parts of you that you believe have died forever, that can never be restored, that seem fit only to remain hidden. Yet my voice still has the authority to call life forth again. I can call your faith out of the tomb. I can call your gentleness out of the tomb. I can call your capacity to love out of the tomb. I can even call back the pure laughter you thought had been lost forever. Do not fear when I touch your memories, for my hands are never harsh. I patiently loosen every burial cloth. I gently wipe away every layer of dust with compassion. I do not demand that you be instantly healed. I know that healing is a journey, and on that journey, you do not need to pretend you are not hurting. You simply need to stop running from the one who is healing you. From there, I want you to look again at what you once called delays. You prayed for a door to open, yet it remained shut. You longed for someone to understand your heart, yet they remained silent. You waited for change in your family, your work, your health, your finance, your future. Yet time stretched on until your faith grew weary. My child, what appears to you as delay is often preparation in my hands. Remember Abraham, who waited for the promised son long after both he and Sarah had passed the years of youthful strength. Remember Hannah, who wept before the Lord because of her barrenness. Yet from those tear-soaked prayers, Samuel was born as a lamp for my people. Remember Mary and Martha, who sent word to Jesus that Lazarus was gravely ill, but he did not arrive according to their timetable. And when he finally came, what seemed hopelessly late became the very place where the glory of God was revealed. My beloved child, I am never late in the way human love imagines. I arrive at the appointed moment so that what is born is not merely an answer, but a faith that has matured within you. When you think I am silent, I may be working in places too deep for your eyes to see. When you see no door opening, I may be preparing you so that, once you enter, you will not lose your soul in the very thing for which you once prayed. Yet while you wait, your heart often grows weary, and I know this well. Therefore, within this new home, I have prepared a table of daily manna for you. Just as I fed my people in the wilderness, I did not allow them to gather more than they needed, so they would learn that life does not come from stored provisions, but from my faithfulness each new morning. So it is with you. There are gifts I do not bestow once for an entire lifetime. Instead, I let them fall day by day like the morning dew. Perhaps today you do not have the answers for next year, but you have enough strength for today. Perhaps you cannot yet see the whole road ahead, but you have a lamp for your next step. Just as Psalm 119 declares, "Your word is a lamp to my feet and a light to my path." Do not insist that I illuminate the entire journey before you are willing to take a single step. Some faith grows only by walking within the light that is sufficient for the present moment. Receive today's manna, a word of comfort, a peaceful breath, an encounter that comes at precisely the right time, a sudden clarity, an unexpected patience, a small joy quietly entering an ordinary day. Never despise small miracles. Many souls miss my care, not because I fail to give it, but because they search only for great wonders and overlook the small loaf of bread already resting upon the table. And as you eat the bread of today, I want you to learn to drink from living springs rather than from the muddy streams this world continually offers. The world tells you to hurry, to surpass others, to become more beautiful, wealthier, more admired, more noticeable, believing that otherwise you will be forgotten. But I tell you that your soul was never created to survive on applause. Today's applause may become tomorrow's silence. Human approval shifts as easily as the wind. Yet my love for you never rises or falls according to your achievements. When Jesus was baptized in the Jordan River, before he performed a single public miracle, before he preached, before he healed the crowds, the voice from heaven declared, "You are my beloved Son. With you I am well pleased." Let that teach you a sacred mystery. Identity comes before work. Love comes before accomplishment. The Father's delight does not begin only after you have proved yourself useful. Within this new home, you will no longer run endlessly in order to earn love. Instead, you will do all things from the place of already being loved. When you labor from emptiness, you become exhausted. When you labor from love, you bear lasting fruit. I also want to touch the way you look upon those around you. For no one can truly dwell in my house while keeping a closed heart toward their brothers and sisters. Perhaps you have grown accustomed to defining others by the wounds they caused you, by the weaknesses they revealed, or by the disappointments they brought into your life. I am not asking you to abandon wisdom, nor am I asking you to leave your doors open for harm to continue. But I invite you to look beyond the surface. Zacchaeus was regarded as a sinful tax collector, small in stature and even smaller in the eyes of his community. Yet Jesus looked up into the sycamore tree and said, "Today I must stay at your house." Those simple words opened the door to transformation. Do you see? Sometimes a soul changes not because it has been criticized more harshly, but because it has been seen with hope for the very first time. In this new home, I will teach you to establish healthy boundaries without bitterness, to speak truth without destroying another, and to walk away from places that wound you without carrying curses in your heart. You will learn that mercy is not weakness. Mercy is strength, purified of pride. From that mercy, I want you to look back upon your own journey with greater gratitude. You remember so clearly what you have not yet received. The prayers still unanswered. The doors still unopened. Yet you so easily forget the countless times I kept you from falling. There were disasters you never knew because I stopped them before they reached you. There were people whose departure broke your heart. Yet later you discovered that their leaving rescued you from a path that would have led you astray. There were plans that failed and disappointed you. Yet, had they succeeded, your soul might have wandered far from my light. My beloved child, Gratitude is the window of this new home. Open it, and fresh air will fill every room. Psalm 103 reminds you, "Bless the Lord, O my soul, and forget not all his benefits. Do not count only what is missing. Count also the countless times you have been sustained. Do not remember only the nights of darkness. Remember the dawns that followed every moment when you believed you would never endure. A grateful soul is not one without troubles. It is one that recognizes my hand, still supporting life, even in the midst of every trial." Perhaps you are wondering what you should do after hearing all these words. I do not ask you to become an entirely different person by tomorrow. I simply invite you to take very small steps with genuine faithfulness. Begin by offering your morning to me, before offering your mind to the world. Before reaching for the news, the numbers, or the judgments of others, reach first for my presence through a simple prayer. Sigh. Father, today lead me into the peaceful home you have prepared for me. Then, as the day unfolds, if something stirs your anger, pause for a moment and remember that you no longer live in the old house of impulsive reactions. If financial fears arise, breathe deeply and ask me. Grant me wisdom, not merely anxiety. If your body grows weary, rest as one who has permission to rest. If your mind feels burdened, read a verse from the Psalms as though placing a flower upon the altar of your heart. If you stumble in weakness, do not run away from me, run toward me. This new home is not reserved only for the days when you behave perfectly. It is the place where you learn to rise again after every fall, with less shame and greater humility. Then, in the quiet evenings, when the lights of your home grow dim, I want you to learn to place the burdens of the day into my hands. Do not carry them into your sleep as though embracing stones while stepping into deep waters. There are matters that cannot be solved by thinking about them at midnight. There are words spoken by others that do not need to be rehearsed in your heart until dawn. There are small failures that simply need to be acknowledged, forgiven, learned from, and laid down. Psalm 4 declares, "In peace I will both lie down and sleep. For you alone, O Lord, make me dwell in safety." Let those words become the blanket that covers your soul. I keep watch while you sleep. I continue working while you rest. Trees do not stay awake all night trying to make themselves grow. Yet quietly their life flows within them. So it is with you. Some of your deepest growth takes place when you stop trying to control everything and allow grace to accomplish its quiet work. Resting in me is not laziness. It is a confession that you are not the Lord of your own life. And that confession is the beginning of true freedom. As that freedom grows within you, you will find yourself fearing loss less and less, because you will understand that the most essential part of who you are is hidden in me. The world may misunderstand you, but I know you completely. Opportunities may come and go, yet I am always able to make a way where none seems to exist. Youth may fade, strength may change, and circumstances may shift, but my love never grows old. The prophet Isaiah declared, "Though the mountains be shaken and the hills be removed, yet my unfailing love for you will not be shaken." Hold fast to those words as the foundation stone beneath your new home. When life trembles, do not build yourself upon passing emotions. For emotions are like the waves of the sea. Build yourself upon my promises instead, for my promises are like solid rock. There will be days when you feel close to me, and there will be days when your soul feels dry. But truth does not change according to your feelings. The sun remains in the sky, even when hidden behind clouds. I remain near you, even when your heart cannot sense my warmth. Mature faith is not measured by always seeing the fire burn brightly, but by faithfully guarding the lamp even when the wind blows against it. And, my beloved child, do not imagine that this new home is meant only for you as a secluded refuge. I heal you so that through you, a portion of the world may also be touched by my grace. Perhaps you will never stand behind a great pulpit. Your name may never become widely known, and many people may never recognize you. Yet every single day you have the power to make one small corner of this world resemble heaven a little more. Whenever you speak a kind word instead of a bitter one, you lay another brick of peace. Whenever you care for your parents, your children, your spouse, your friends, or your colleagues with patience, you open another window through which grace can enter. Whenever you choose honesty in a place where deception is common, you light another candle. Whenever you choose forgiveness instead of spreading more darkness, you allow living water to flow through you. Jesus taught that the tiny mustard seed can grow into a tree where the birds of the air find shelter. Never despise the small things I have placed into your hands. A simple act performed in love can echo far beyond anything you can imagine. There are people praying for a sign that God is still merciful. And perhaps today, that sign is the way you choose to be present in their lives. Even so, there will be moments when you discover your own weakness again. And that does not surprise me. I know that you were formed from the dust of the earth, and I remember how fragile you are. When Peter declared that he would never deny his master, he did not yet understand how greatly his heart would tremble on the night of testing. Yet after he fell, the risen Jesus did not come to crush him beneath humiliation. Instead, he asked him 3 times, "Do you love me?" It was a question of restoration. I ask you that same question not, "Why are you weak?" nor, "Why are you not better by now?" but simply, "Do you still desire to love me?" If your answer, however faint, is still yes, even if it is no stronger than your next breath, then I can begin again with you. Remember this: failure never has the final word while grace is still speaking. Peter wept bitterly, yet his story did not end in tears. He was entrusted with the care of my flock. Neither will your story end at the place where you fell. Within this new home, there is a room prepared for every new beginning, and the door to that room is never locked against a repentant heart. Now, as you continue walking deeper into this holy night, I want you to hear something gentle. Do not postpone your life. Many people wait until everything is perfect before they begin living in peace. They wait until they have enough money before learning gratitude. They wait until their families are completely restored before allowing themselves to rejoice. They wait until their bodies are perfectly healthy before embracing themselves with love. They wait until every worry has disappeared before praying with genuine faith. But, my child, my peace is not a reward that comes only after the storm has passed. My peace is the boat that carries you through the storm itself. My joy does not wait for circumstances to bow before it. It blossoms like a flower growing from solid rock. Paul and Silas sang hymns while they were still imprisoned, long before the prison doors were opened. They did not wait for their chains to fall before they worshiped me. It was their song in the midst of chains that shook the very foundations of the prison. You can begin living differently even within your present circumstances. You can light your lamp before the night is ended. You can give thanks while my promises are still only seeds. You can show yourself gentleness while your healing is still unfinished. That is how you avoid missing this new home, not by waiting for a perfect day to enter it, but by stepping inside today with a faith that may be imperfect, yet remains sincere. Therefore, let this night become a quiet milestone between you and me. No one else needs to know. No grand ceremony is required. No eloquent words are necessary. Simply say to me, in the deepest place within your soul, that you no longer wish to remain forever as someone standing outside the door. Tell me that you no longer want fear to govern your days. shame to write your story, your past to determine your future, or the noise of the world to drown out my voice. Tell me that you want to come home, and I, who have been waiting for you far longer than you realize, will never allow that prayer to disappear into silence. I will meet you in the ordinary moments of life, in the morning glass of water, in the sunlight falling upon your wall, in a passage of scripture that unexpectedly speaks to your heart, in someone who reminds you to smile, in the courage to do what is right, in the humility to apologize, in the wisdom to remain silent, and in the peace that comes when you no longer feel compelled to prove yourself to everyone. These are the quiet bricks that build your new home. And with every day you live in my presence, that home will become stronger, brighter, and more spacious. My beloved child, if there comes a time when you cannot see the road ahead, remember the disciples on the road to Emmaus. They walked in disappointment, convinced that every hope had been crucified and buried. Yet the risen Jesus walked beside them, explaining the scriptures until their hearts burned within them, long before their eyes recognized him. Perhaps today you too are walking your own road to Emmaus, speaking only of what has been lost, grieving what never came to pass as you had hoped, unable to recognize that I am already walking beside you in the quiet conversation of your own heart. Yet there will come a moment when the bread is broken, when the light falls exactly where it should, when your heart remembers that familiar warmth, and you too will say, "Were not our hearts burning within us? Never measure my presence only by what your eyes can immediately perceive. At times I walk beside you in the gentlest disguise, waiting for the appointed moment to open your eyes. This new home is not merely a place to which you are coming. It is the awakening to the truth that I have been walking with you, even along the roads where you believed you were most alone. Above all else, what I desire to place within your heart is this quiet certainty: you have not been abandoned. Whether tonight you are sitting in your own room or in an unfamiliar place, whether your family surrounds you or you are completely alone, whether your wallet is full or you are carefully counting every expense, whether your body is strong or still in need of healing, whether your mind is clear or still covered with clouds, whether your faith burns brightly or flickers only like a dimly burning wick, I will not extinguish it. Isaiah spoke of the servant of the Lord, saying, "A bruised reed he will not break, and a smoldering wick he will not snuff out." That is how tenderly I hold your soul. I have not come to break what is already bruised within you. I have come to bind it up. I have not come to extinguish the little flame that still remains. I have come to shield it from the wind and breathe new life into it. Let that truth embrace you tonight, as long as even the smallest spark within you still turns toward me. Dawn is still on its way. So enter this new home not with the anxious haste of someone afraid of missing an opportunity, but with the quiet attentiveness of one who understands the preciousness of grace. Do not allow distraction to hide it from your sight. Do not let the bells of this world pull you away from my holy invitation. Do not allow tomorrow to swallow what I am planting within your heart tonight. When you awaken, live as one who has been welcomed into the Father's house. Speak as one who carries light. Work as one who has been sent with purpose. Rest as one who is deeply loved. Steward your resources as one who trusts the one who provides. Care for your body as one entrusted with the temple of my spirit. Love your family as one who has been greatly forgiven. Face the future as one who knows that your hand is safely held within mine. And if you forget, return to me. If you lose your way, call upon me. If you grow weary, lean upon me. This door is not opened by your strength, but by my mercy. Tonight I have given you a new home from this day forward. Learn to remain within it until every thought, every word, every decision, every night's rest, every tear, and every smile becomes your gentle reply to me, "Father, I have come home, and I long to remain forever in your love. And my beloved child, now that you have heard my voice calling to you in the night, now that your hand rests upon the door of the new home I am opening before you, do not imagine that the journey ends the moment you step across its threshold. No. Entering is only the beginning of a new life, a life in which every room of your soul will gradually be filled with my light. Every hidden corner will be touched by my mercy, and every crack will be mended by my gentle grace. Many believe that being healed by me means everything instantly becomes light as a cloud. But my child, healing often begins when you find the courage to recognize how weary you have truly become. When the paralyzed man was lowered through the roof into the presence of Jesus, he saw far more than a body unable to walk. He saw a soul longing to be restored from its deepest roots. Before he said, "Rise and walk," he first declared, "Your sins are forgiven." Let those words fall into your heart like rain upon dry ground. I do not simply desire that you walk outwardly. I desire that you rise inwardly. I do not merely want you to have a place to dwell. I want you to become someone in whom peace itself makes its home. This new house is not a reward for those who have never fallen. It is a place of restoration for the child who has trembled, wandered, and believed there was no strength left to begin again. Within this house, the very first thing I want you to notice is not perfection, but the table. I have prepared a table for you, even in the presence of the very things that once filled you with fear. Just as Psalm 23 speaks of a feast prepared in the midst of adversity, you have often waited for your enemies to disappear before allowing yourself to experience peace. You have waited for anxiety to vanish, for the approval of others, for circumstances to stabilize, for your body to grow stronger, for your finances to become secure, for your family to find harmony, for every wave to become still before finally giving yourself permission to breathe. But I long to teach you a deeper mystery. My peace is not a gift reserved for after the storm. My peace is able to sit beside you in the very heart of the storm. When Jesus slept in the boat while the sea raged around him, it was not because he was indifferent to his disciples, but because he was revealing a profound truth. There is a place of stillness deeper than the sound of the wind. And when he rose and spoke to the sea, saying, "Peace, be still," even before the waters became calm, his disciples were being invited to learn that the one who was with them was greater than the storm before them. My child, I do not make light of your storms. I know the nights when you awaken with a racing heart, the mornings when you open your eyes already exhausted, the days when you smile at others while inwardly longing simply to be held. Yet never forget this: if I am in the boat of your life, that boat is not defined by the waves. It is defined by my presence. From that table, I now invite you to look toward the window. Beyond it, the world continues to move. There are still headlines that fill hearts with fear, events that remind you how fragile life can be, and endless competitions that make you believe you must run ever faster just to avoid being left behind. But within this new home, the window is not open to let fear enter. It is open so that you may behold the world through eyes washed clean by hope. Remember the servant of Elisha when the city was surrounded by enemy armies. He saw only the soldiers surrounding them, and his heart was overcome with terror. But Elisha prayed that his servant's eyes would be opened. And suddenly he saw the mountains filled with the horses and chariots of God. My beloved child, there are many times when you too see only the outward appearance of your circumstances: a closed door, a painful rejection, a shortage of money, a strained relationship, a missed opportunity, or a body still waiting to be healed. Yet I desire to open the eyes of your soul so that you may see what natural eyes cannot: grace surrounding you, my providence quietly preparing the way, and the hosts of hope standing where you thought only loneliness remained. Never conclude that you have been forgotten simply because you have not yet seen the outcome. A seed buried beneath the soil is not hidden in order to die. It is hidden so that it may grow. Much of what I accomplish in silence is not small because it is unseen. Roots always require darkness before branches reach the sunlight. As you begin to see life through that light, you will discover that your old burdens no longer possess the same authority over you. I am not saying they disappear at once, but their power weakens each time you remember to whom you belong. There are judgments that have clung to you since childhood, failures that have tried to become your identity, and wounds that have disguised themselves as your destiny. But, my child, I am the one who gives a new name. Abraham was once Abram, before he was called the father of many nations. Jacob bore the reputation of one who grasped and struggled before he became Israel, after wrestling beside the Jabbok. Simon, impulsive and fearful, became Peter the Rock, not because he had never been weak, but because I saw what my grace could build within him. Therefore, never allow your past to pronounce the final name over your life. When Isaiah 43 proclaims, "Do not fear, for I have redeemed you," those words are not only for a nation in exile, but for every soul imprisoned beneath false identities. You are not your shame. You are not your failures. You are not what others have done to you. You are the beloved child called home, redeemed, clothed in new garments, and welcome to my table. Within this new home, I also want to teach you how to hold time once again. Perhaps you have lived as though time were forever chasing you, as though every day were a race to outrun your shortcomings. Every hour, another reminder that you have never done enough. But time in my hands is not a whip, it is fertile ground. Whatever you sow into it will become the harvest of another season. If you sow haste, you will reap exhaustion. If you sow comparison, you will reap dissatisfaction. If you sow gratitude, you will reap a joy that endures beyond circumstances. If you sow faithfulness in small things, you will reap a steadfast soul when greater responsibilities arrive. Ecclesiastes teaches that there is a season for everything, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to seek and a time to let go. Do not despise the rhythm of the seasons I have woven into your life. There are seasons when I send you out, and seasons when I hide you in quietness. There are seasons for building, and seasons for healing, seasons for speaking, and seasons for learning, silence, seasons for caring for others, and seasons when you must allow me to care for you. Never call a season of rest useless, simply because the world worships busyness. Never call a slower season failure simply because others appear to be moving ahead. The olive tree does not grow in a single night, yet its oil has kept the sacred lamps burning for generations. My beloved child, you also need to know that within this house there is a room set apart for gratitude. It is not a tiny chamber, nor is it a place you enter only when everything is going well. Gratitude is the fire that keeps the soul warm when the world outside grows cold. When 10 lepers were healed, only one returned to glorify God. And Jesus noticed him not merely because his body had been made clean, but because his heart had found its way back. My child, gratitude does not lessen your pain by denying it. Rather, it opens another doorway within your suffering so that light may enter. You can weep and still be grateful that you are being upheld. You can wait and still be grateful because I have never been silent in the way you imagined. You can fail to understand everything and still be grateful because my hand remains upon your life. Begin with the smallest gifts, a breath that cannot be bought with gold, a cool cup of water, someone who once asked if you were all right, a day you survived even when you believed you could not, a ray of sunlight upon the wall, a verse of scripture that came at just the right moment, a fleeting peace that was enough to keep you from giving up. These little things are the first stones upon which true joy is built. The world often searches for miracles in thunder and lightning, but learn to recognize the miracle in the gift of life that is renewed day after day. From gratitude, I will lead you into courage, for a soul that knows it is loved no longer lives like a beggar before the future. You do not need to step into tomorrow with pride, yet neither must you bow your head like one who has already been defeated before the journey begins. When Joshua stood before the promised land after Moses had passed away, he faced not only a new land, but also the fear of leading in the shadow of a great past. And I said to him, "Be strong and courageous." Those words were not a cold command. They were a hand resting upon the shoulder of one who was trembling. Today I place my hand upon your shoulder in the same way. Be strong, not because you have no weaknesses, but because I am your strength within your weakness. Be courageous, not because you know every step ahead, but because I go before you. Open the door you have feared for so long. Begin the work you have postponed. Speak the truth you have hidden. Seek help when you need it. Return to the habit of prayer. Care for your body. Put your room in order. Restore your finances. Ask forgiveness when necessary. Forgive when the time has come. Allow hope to have a voice in your life. Courage is not always a triumphant shout. Sometimes it is the quiet whisper that says, "Today, I will not give up." Yet, my child, while I teach you courage, I also teach you gentleness. There is a kind of worldly courage that hardens the heart, convincing you that to survive, you must become cold, that you must always win, that you must need no one. But the courage that comes from me makes you gentle without making you weak, steadfast without making you proud, radiant without blinding those around you. Jesus said, "Learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart." Those words are the key to one of the deepest rooms within this new home, the room of rest. You have struggled for far too long beneath the burden of proving that you are worthy. You have tried to make others understand you, love you, choose you, respect you. But there is a place where you no longer need to prove anything. Before me, you are fully known and still fully loved. You do not need to raise your voice for me to hear you. You do not need to make yourself remarkable for me to notice you. You do not need to hide your wounds for me to remain beside you. Let my gentleness teach you how to live more lightly. When someone misunderstands you, you can still remain at peace. When someone walks out of your life, you can still stand firm. When someone does not return your love as you had hoped, you can still guard your heart from bitterness. Gentleness does not mean allowing others to trample over you. It means knowing that you rest safely in my hands, and therefore you do not need to transform your pain into hatred. From there, you will learn another sacred art, the art of letting go. Not letting go like one who has lost all hope, but like a seed that trusts the deep soil is not its grave. There are things you have held too tightly because you feared losing them. Yet that very grip has wearied your hands and left your heart with no room to receive what is new. Abraham was called to leave his homeland and journey to the place I would show him. He possessed no complete map, only my promise. That is how faith often begins, not with every answer in hand, but with enough trust to take the next step. Perhaps you are standing before such a threshold today. There may be a habit you must leave behind, a fear you must lay down, a relationship that needs either healing or surrender into my hands, a dream that must be purified of impatience, a plan that must yield to a wisdom greater than your own. Do not fear the emptiness that follows surrender. That emptiness is not barren loss. It may be the empty vessel prepared to receive fresh oil. The widow in the days of Elisha possessed only empty jars. Yet when she obeyed by borrowing more vessels and pouring out the little oil she had left, The oil continued to flow until there was not another empty jar remaining. Do you see? My child, what I sometimes need is not the abundance you possess, but the emptiness you are willing to offer. Bring the empty vessels of your heart before me. I know how to make the oil flow. Then, before long, you will discover that this new home is filled with new sounds. Once, your heart was accustomed to the voices of accusation, hostility, doubt, and self-contempt. But when I dwell within you, another song begins to rise. Paul and Silas sang in prison at midnight, not because their chains were comfortable, but because their souls had not been imprisoned with their bodies. As they sung, the earth shook and the prison doors were opened. My beloved child, there are songs within your own life that also have the power to shake invisible prisons. When you choose prayer instead of panic, that is a song. When you choose thanksgiving on a day that is still unfinished, that is a song. When you choose to rise again after failure, that is a song. When you choose to speak words of blessing over yourself instead of cursing your own soul, that is a song. Do not wait until you are completely free before you sing. Sometimes the song itself becomes the path that opens the prison doors. I am not asking you to manufacture false happiness. I am inviting you to let holy joy grow from a place deeper than your circumstances. That joy may be as small as a single candle. Yet even one candle in a dark room is enough to keep the darkness from holding absolute dominion. Within this house, there will also be those who come knocking at the door. I will bring people who need the light you have received. And I will also send those who carry the light you yourself need. Do not live your faith like a room with locked doors. True love always knows how to open itself wisely. When Ruth followed Naomi, she brought no great riches with her. Only a faithful heart. Your people shall be my people, and your God my God. From that quiet faithfulness, I wove a story far greater than she could ever have imagined, placing her within the lineage that would lead to the Savior. My child, never underestimate the quiet bonds of faithfulness in your own life. A friend who prays with you, a family member who needs a little more of your patience, a community that keeps you from losing your way, a poor person who needs your generosity, a lonely soul who longs for a sincere greeting. Each of these can become a place where grace passes through. This new home does not make you an island of peace separated from the world. It makes you a lamp shining from the window, so that those who have lost their way may know there is still a place where light remains. Even so, you must learn discernment, for not everyone who comes to the door should be welcomed into every room of your soul. Kindness does not mean placing the key to your heart into the hands of those who wound you without repentance. Jesus loved everyone, yet he also knew when to withdraw to the mountains to pray, when to remain silent before Herod, when to speak truth to hypocrites, and when not to entrust himself to those who sought only signs instead of truth. Let me teach you holy boundaries. There are invitations you must decline in order to preserve your peace. There are arguments you do not need to enter. There are burdens you are not meant to carry simply because you fear disappointing others. There are voices you must silence so that you may hear mine more clearly. Boundaries are not a lack of love. They are the fence around a garden that allows flowers to bloom. When you learn to say no to what drains your soul, you are saying yes to the life I have entrusted to you. Remember this well, even the promised land had its borders, and every precious gift is meant to be protected. As you tend that garden, I will sow new seeds within it. Perhaps you have believed that your life is too late to change, too burdened with failures to begin again, too weary to dream once more, too insignificant to be used. But hear the words of Isaiah. See, I am doing a new thing. The new work I accomplish is never hindered by age, by the past, by delay, or by what the world calls an ending. Sarah laughed when she heard the promise of a son in her old age. Yet that laughter of doubt became laughter of wonder when Isaac was born. Zechariah was left speechless for a season because he did not believe. But when John was born, his mouth was opened once again in praise. Do you see, my child? Even your doubts are not great enough to make my mercy cease. I can make flowers bloom in dry ground. I can call life forth from the places you thought had grown cold forever. What I ask of you is not perfect confidence, but a small and willing heart. Simply say to me, Father, if you are doing something new, begin with me, and I will begin. Perhaps very quietly, but with a work that reaches to the deepest places of your soul. As that new work grows, the way you see yourself will begin to change. You will no longer treat yourself as your own enemy. You will stop striking your soul with harsh words every time you stumble. You will learn to correct yourself without destroying yourself, to repent without falling into despair, to persevere without hating your own weakness. When Peter denied his master 3 times, the gaze of Jesus was not the gaze of rejection. After the resurrection, he did not bring up Peter's sin to shame him. Instead, he asked, Do you love me? Those 3 questions gently untied the knot of Peter's 3 denials, refusing to let the past triumph over love. My child, I ask you that same question today, not why did you fail, but do you still desire to love? If you still long to love, to return, to rise again, then your story is not over. Holiness is not never falling. Holiness is allowing me to lift you up again and again until you learn to walk in the light. Little by little, this new home will become the place where you learn to live in. My presence not only during prayer, but also in the ordinary moments of every day. When you wash a single cup, you can do so with gratitude. When you open the door to a new morning, you can whisper that this day belongs to me. When you meet someone who is difficult to love, you can ask me to give you gentle eyes. As you work before a screen, prepare a meal, walk along the road, answer a message, care for your family, tidy your room, practice slow breathing, or simply rest. You can allow everyday life to become a quiet liturgy. Mary was not holy only because she stood beneath the cross, but also because she said, Let it be done to me. In a humble home in Nazareth, amid an ordinary life visited by heaven. Do not wait for a grand stage before choosing to live beautifully. I often come into small rooms where a listening soul quietly waits. I often send my angels in moments no one expects. I often begin great works with a single humble yes. And my beloved child, if after entering this new home, you sometimes find yourself longing again for the old house of fear, do not be ashamed. After leaving Egypt, the Israelites sometimes remembered the pots of meat they had once eaten there. Though it had been a land of slavery, freedom may feel unfamiliar because it asks you to live like one who is loved rather than one who remains in chains. When old habits of anxiety return, when the familiar voice whispers that you are unworthy, when loneliness knocks in the middle of the night, do not condemn yourself. Come back to me at once. A child learning to walk is never cast aside by a loving father for falling. Instead, the father lifts the child up, brushes away the dust, and encourages another step. That is what I do for you. Every time you return, the path home becomes more familiar. Every time you choose trust, the roots of your faith grow deeper. Every time you open the scriptures, pray, breathe slowly, speak truthfully, turn away from darkness, choose what is good, you lay another stone in the foundation of your new life. Do not measure your journey by a single day of weakness. Look instead at my faithfulness through every season. I am the one who began the good work within you, and I will never abandon what I have begun. Now, as the night grows deeper and the world outside has perhaps fallen silent, I want you to hear one final word in this part of our journey, a lullaby from a father to a child who has wandered far for too long. You are allowed to remain in peace. You do not need to stand at the threshold as though you were only a temporary guest. You do not need to sleep with your shoes still on because you fear being sent away in the morning. This is not a rented house of grace, nor merely a temporary shelter of mercy. In Christ, you have been adopted as my child, and children have a place in their Father's house. Romans 8 reminds you that you have not received a spirit of slavery leading back to fear, but the spirit of adoption by whom you cry, Abba, Father. Let that cry become the very breath of your soul. When you are afraid, call, Father. When you rejoice, call, Father. When you do not know the way, call, Father. When you feel weak, call, Father. I never grow weary of hearing your voice. I am never distant because you have called too many times. I do not close the door because you arrived late. Tonight, the lights of this new home are still burning brightly. There is still a place for you at the table. A new robe has already been prepared. The oil still carries its fragrance, and peace is still waiting. Come deeper into this love. My child, do not merely visit grace, make your home within it. Do not merely gaze at peace from afar. Allow peace to surround you. Do not simply hear that you are loved. Let that love become the ground beneath your feet, the roof above your head, the light within your eyes, and the song within your soul. While you wait, I want you to be careful about the guests you allow into the house of your heart. Not every thought deserves to remain there. Not every opinion deserves a place upon the walls of your mind. Not every fear that knocks at your door should be invited to sit at your table. You may be gracious toward the world, but you must be holy in guarding your soul. The book of Proverbs says, "Guard your heart with all diligence, for from it flow the springs of life." Never take lightly what you listen to each day, what you look upon each night, the stories you nourish within your heart, or the comparisons you quietly repeat to yourself. If you continually allow darkness to enter through the windows and then wonder why the room has grown cold, I will not rebuke you. I will gently show you how to close those openings. Let words of blessing replace words of poison. Let holy silence take the place of empty noise. Let a psalm echo through your room instead of voices that fill you with fear. Let my presence fill the emptiness you once tried to satisfy with things that only left you thirstier still. You do not need to hate the world in order to live a holy life. You simply need to learn to choose what nourishes life instead of what causes your soul to wither. And when your soul has been nourished, I will send you back into the world not as one fleeing from the darkness, but as one who carries the light. You may think you are small, yet even the smallest candle is enough to make a room less dark. Remember the little boy with 5 loaves and 2 fish. In his own hands, they were only a modest meal. In the hands of Jesus, they became a feast for the multitude. You, too, possess things that seem insignificant: a gentle voice, the ability to listen, the wisdom born of suffering, a gift no one has yet discovered, a humble kitchen, diligent hands, a heart that instinctively shows compassion. Do not despise these things. Place them into my hands. I do not require you to have everything before I begin to bless you. I ask only that you offer what you have with faith. You may not be able to heal the whole world, but you can lighten someone's day. You may not have answers for every question, but you can sit beside the one who is weeping. You may not be able to rewrite your family's past, but you can become the beginning of a new legacy of love. When you allow me to break and distribute what you believed was so little, you will be amazed to find that the baskets are still full. In my kingdom, whatever is given in love is never truly lost. Therefore, do not fear tomorrow as though it were a wild beast waiting to devour you. Tomorrow rests in my hands long before it ever reaches yours. The appointments you do not yet know about, the outcomes that have not yet arrived, the difficult conversations, the decisions still hanging in the balance, the needs of your body, the worries you carry for those you love, all of these remain within my sight. Psalm 121 declares that the one who watches over you will neither slumber nor sleep. While you sleep, I remain awake. When you can no longer control what lies ahead, I am still sovereign. When you do not know how to pray, the Spirit Himself intercedes for you with groanings too deep for words. My beloved child, there are nights when you think you are falling, when in truth you are being carried. There are seasons when you believe everything has slowed because you have been abandoned, when in reality I am restraining you from rushing into what is not yet ready. There are losses you mistake for punishment, but in time you will recognize them as protection. You will not always understand immediately, but you may rest in this truth. I am a merciful Father, and a merciful Father does not play cruel games with the heart of his child. If I discipline you, it is so that you may truly live. If I block your path, it is to keep you from the edge of the cliff. If I ask you to wait, it is because what I am preparing requires roots deeper than your impatience. The day will come when you look back upon this night and realize that it was not merely a moment of comfort, but the quiet turning point of your soul. Perhaps no one but you will ever know what happened here. Outside, everything may appear exactly the same. The room, the table, the light, the distant sounds of traffic, the responsibilities still waiting for you. Yet within, a door has opened. Within, you have begun to believe that you are not condemned to live forever in the old house of fear. Within, you have heard your Father's voice calling your name, and you have answered, even if only with a single breath. Never despise such a hidden beginning. The mustard seed is smaller than many other seeds. Yet when it grows, it becomes a place where the birds of the air find shelter. This is often how my kingdom begins, small, quiet, humble, yet carrying a life that cannot be stopped. From this night forward, whenever fear whispers that you are still the same, remind it that the door has already been opened. Whenever shame tells you that you do not belong in the house, remind it that the precious blood has paid the price for your journey home. Whenever loneliness insists that no one remains with you, remind it that Emmanuel means God with us. And whenever you feel weak, remember the words I spoke to Paul. My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. You do not need perfect strength to face tomorrow. You only need to remain close to the source, whose strength never runs dry. So let this new home become a living prayer expressed through the smallest moments of your day. When you open the door each morning, sigh, Father, open my heart to your light. As you wash your face, remember that I am making you new. As you eat, give thanks that life continues to be sustained. As you work, offer your hands to all that is good and righteous. When you encounter someone who is difficult to love, ask me to give you a tender heart without losing wisdom. When you grow weary, rest as one who is deeply loved, not as one who has failed. And when night falls, return to me the burdens you could not resolve. This is holiness woven into ordinary life. Holiness is not found only within the walls of a church or in solemn prayers. It is also found in the gratitude with which you make your bed, the gentleness with which you answer today compared to yesterday, the quiet refusal of an evil thought, the care you show to someone who is weak, and the faithfulness with which you keep even the smallest promise. I am transforming your entire life into an altar where every breath may become incense, every drop of sweat an offering, and every tear a pearl shining in the light of eternity. And if one day you forget again, if you wander away from this house of peace once more, I want you to know that the road home has never been erased. Do not allow the accuser to convince you that one moment of weakness has cost you everything. Do not let shame turn a stumble into an exile. Return quickly. Learn to rise through faith rather than remain lying beneath the weight of guilt. When Peter denied his master 3 times, the risen Jesus did not revoke his calling. Instead, he asked, "Do you love me?" and then entrusted his flock to him once again. Do you see? My child, I do not forgive you merely so your heart may feel lighter. I restore you so that you may continue to love. My love is not as fragile as the love of men. I know your entire story. Yet I still call you by name. I know even the chapters you have never dared to tell, and still I am preparing a place for you. Therefore, do not use your failures as evidence that you do not belong in my house. Let my mercy be the proof that there is always a way home. Every time you return, the house does not grow smaller, your heart grows larger. Every time you are forgiven, you discover a deeper measure of grace. And every time you rise again, the darkness loses more of its power over your life. Now let these words settle upon you like dew upon the morning grass. The night is still here, yet it is no longer a place of threat. It has become a quiet veil through which I speak more deeply to your heart. I am placing my hand upon your mind, your memories, your body, your family, your work, and even the dreams you have hidden away because you were afraid of disappointment. I bless the room where you now sit. I bless the bed where you will soon find rest. I bless the eyes that have looked upon so many heavy things. I bless the heart that has continued to love despite its wounds. I bless the hands that will keep building what is good. And I speak over you the blessing of number 6. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. Receive that peace, not merely as an idea, but as a warmth, gently covering your soul. Do not miss this home again. Do not remain standing on the porch because you fear the floor was never meant for you. I have called you, my child, and that calling is stronger than every rejection you have ever heard. When dawn arrives, the world may still be filled with noise, but you will step into it as a different person, not because all your problems have disappeared, but because you have remembered that you have a place to which you always belong. One who has a home does not fear a long journey as someone who does not know where they belong. One who has a father does not need to beg for love from cold and empty hands. One who carries the light does not waste time cursing the darkness. For simply by shining, the darkness begins to retreat. Walk into this new day with the gentleness of one who knows they are loved and the courage of one who has been sent. Let every step proclaim that I am with you. Let every choice testify that you belong to your Father's house. Let every word you speak sow a seed of peace. And if, in the middle of the day, weariness overtakes you, close your eyes for a moment and return within, to the place where I have lit the lamp. That home does not disappear when the sun rises, it goes with you. For from this day forward, I am not only preparing a place for you to dwell, I am making you yourself a dwelling place for my love. My beloved child, live as one who has been welcomed home. Love as one who has been forgiven. Hope as one who has already seen the door standing open. And remember, tonight is not the end of the promise. Tonight is the threshold. From here, I will lead you through many more rooms of grace until the day when every tear is wiped away. just as Revelation 21:4 has promised. And you will finally understand that every peaceful home on earth has been only a shadow of the eternal home within, my embrace. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel so that together we may continue growing in faith and in the love of God.